The moment you walk out that door, something shifts. Not gradually, not after a few minutes of adjustment, immediately. The second that door closes and the sound of your footsteps fades down the hallway, the cat you think you know transforms into something that would genuinely surprise you if you could watch it happen in real time. And what fills those hours while you're gone is not what most pet owners picture when they imagine their cat waiting for them to come back, because the mental image most of us carry around is a peaceful one. The cat finds a warm patch of sunlight, curls into a perfect circle, and essentially pauses until the familiar sound of your keys announces your return. It's a comforting picture. It's also almost entirely wrong. Stick with this video all the way through, because what we're about to unpack completely changes the way you understand your cat's inner world and the hidden life they're living inside the walls of your home. And if you're someone who wants to go deeper into what these animals are actually experiencing, subscribe to the channel right now and hit the like button, because this is exactly the kind of content we put out every week, and you're going to want to be here for all of it. Let's get into it. To understand what your cat does when you leave, you first have to understand something fundamental about how cats relate to space. For a human, home is primarily an emotional concept. It's where we feel safe, where we relax, where we belong. For a cat, home is something far more operational than that. It is a territory. A defined physical zone that carries enormous psychological weight and that requires active, ongoing management in order to maintain the sense of security and control that cats depend on more than almost anything else. This is not a metaphor. It is a biological reality rooted in tens of thousands of years of evolution. The ancestors of your domestic cat were solitary hunters who lived and died based on their mastery of a specific territory. Knowing every corner of that territory, detecting any change within it, and responding to those changes before they became threats was not optional behavior. It was the difference between surviving and not. That neurological wiring did not get erased when cats moved indoors. It got redirected. And the moment you step outside, it activates in full. What begins almost immediately after your departure is what animal behaviorists describe as a territorial inspection circuit. Your cat moves through the home along routes that are far more deliberate and consistent than they appear. They pause at specific points, spend time in particular areas, check certain zones in a sequence that, if you mapped it out over multiple days, would look remarkably similar each time. This is not aimless wandering driven by boredom or restlessness. It is a methodical assessment of the environment, a verification process designed to confirm that everything within the territory is exactly as it should be, that nothing has changed, nothing has been disrupted, and nothing represents a threat that needs to be addressed. The sensory information your cat is collecting during this inspection goes well beyond what's visible to the naked eye. Their olfactory system, which operates at a level estimated to be between 10 and 15 times more sensitive than a human's, is reading the chemical landscape of your home with extraordinary precision. Every surface carries scent information. The furniture holds the layered olfactory history of everyone and everything that has come into contact with it. The air carries traces of activity that occurred hours ago. Your cat is not simply smelling the room. They are reading a detailed record of recent events encoded in molecular information that is completely inaccessible to you. During your absence, this olfactory reading becomes the primary way your cat monitors the integrity of their space. Any new smell that doesn't belong, Any trace of an unfamiliar animal carried in on your clothing, any chemical signal that wasn't present during the last inspection, registers as information that needs to be processed and evaluated. Your cat is not being paranoid. They are being thorough in exactly the way their biology designed them to be. Then there are the windows. The behavior that most owners notice but rarely fully understand. That prolonged, utterly focused stillness in front of the glass that can last for stretches of time that seem impossible to explain. From the outside, it looks passive, almost meditative. From the inside of your cat's experience, it is anything but. Their visual system is built to detect motion at speeds and distances that far exceed human capability. The bird moving through peripheral vision 60 feet away, the insect tracking across the outer surface of the glass, the subtle shift in light intensity as clouds move across the sky, all of it is being processed with a level of attentional precision that would be exhausting for a human to sustain. But the window is doing double duty as an auditory monitoring station at the same time. Cats can detect sound frequencies that extend far beyond the upper range of human hearing, which means the acoustic landscape your cat is receiving through that window is vastly richer than anything you would perceive standing in the same spot. High-frequency sounds from the street below, structural vibrations traveling through the building, the activity of small animals inside the walls or above the ceiling, the distant sounds that arrive in frequency, ranges your ears simply cannot access. During your absence, without the constant background noise of your presence filling the space, your cat's ability to process all of that environmental sound data operates at full capacity. This explains something that many cat owners have experienced but struggled to interpret. That sudden, sharp reaction to absolutely nothing. The head that snaps toward an empty corner. The ears that rotate toward a point on the ceiling where there is visibly nothing happening. The posture that shifts from relaxed to acutely alert for no apparent reason and then gradually releases after a few seconds. There is always a reason. It is just a reason operating in a sensory frequency that you cannot access. Your cat is not responding to the inexplicable. They are responding to something entirely real that falls outside the boundaries of human perception. Something else happens during your absence that speaks to a deeper layer of your cat's psychological experience, and it involves the way they interact with the physical objects and surfaces of your home. Certain pieces of furniture get attention they don't receive when you're around. Specific spots on the floor become points of extended focus. Objects that appear completely unremarkable become subjects of sustained investigation. What's happening here is largely olfactory. These locations carry concentrations of scent information that your cat finds particularly significant, whether because they hold traces of your smell, because they accumulated the olfactory residue of past events, or because they represent points in the home that your cat has identified as carrying environmental importance that isn't visible on the surface. The scent-marking behavior that many cats intensify during alone time is another piece of this picture that deserves attention. When your cat rubs their face and cheeks along the edges of furniture, door frames, and walls, they're not doing it randomly. They're depositing facial pheromones that produce a measurable regulatory effect on their own emotional state. These chemical signals create what researchers describe as a zone of familiarity, a sensory confirmation that this environment is known, safe, and claimed in the absence of your presence, which is itself a major source of security and predictability for your cat. This self-generated chemical environment serves as a stabilizing force, It is, in a very real biochemical sense, your cat managing their own anxiety through active environmental modification. This brings us to something that tends to surprise people who've spent years believing that cats are fundamentally indifferent to human company. The research into feline attachment that has accumulated over the past 2 decades tells a significantly different story than the popular image of the cat as a purely self-sufficient creature that merely tolerates human presence. Many cats form genuine deep attachment bonds with their primary caregivers, bonds that bear meaningful resemblance to the attachment patterns studied in human infants and young children. For these cats, your absence is not a neutral condition. It is the removal of a central source of psychological security. And while cats rarely display that response in ways that are easy for humans to recognize, it shapes the behavior patterns they exhibit throughout the time you're gone. The inspection circuits, the window monitoring, the scent marking, the heightened sensory alertness, these are not random behaviors that happen to coincide with your absence. They are, at least in part, the behavioral expression of a system that is actively managing the psychological gap left by the loss of its most important environmental anchor. And then you come home. The key turns. The door opens, and your cat looks up at you with an expression of complete nonchalance, as though the past several hours contained nothing more eventful than an undisturbed nap, as though none of what we just described happened at all. This is the part that confuses most owners and leads them to conclude that their cat must not have done anything particularly interesting while they were gone. But that conclusion misreads what the behavior actually communicates. Cats do not process transitions the way humans do. They do not feel the need to narrate, perform, or dramatize the shift between one state and another. Your return is simply the next data point in the ongoing map of their environment, and your cat slots it into place with the same quiet efficiency they apply to everything else. The absence of visible reaction is not evidence of absence of experience. It is simply evidence that your cat processes experience differently than you do. Everything that happened in that space while you were away, every route walked, every sound cataloged, every surface checked, every chemical signal deposited, remains encoded in the behavioral and sensory record your cat maintains of their world. It happened. It mattered. It simply happened in a register that exists entirely outside the range of human observation. What makes all of this so genuinely compelling is the realization that the hidden life of your cat is not hidden because they're keeping something from you. It's hidden because it operates in dimensions of sensory and instinctive experience that you have never had access to and never will. The life your cat lives when no one is watching is not a diminished version of the one they live in your presence. In many ways, it is the more fundamental one, the one closest to what they actually are. If you want to keep uncovering the layers of what's really going on inside the mind and behavior of your cat, subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications so you're there every time we post. And if this video gave you a completely different picture of what your cat's day actually looks like, leave a like before you close out. It genuinely helps us reach more people who need to hear this. See you in the next one.